Welcome to Bloodbath & Beyond. Today we review VHS 2, Who's Tracking You?
This is the second entry in the horror anthology franchise, VHS. It's put together by The Collective / Bloody Disgusting and features a ton of pretty popular writers and directors. This is a recommendation from Deke over on our Patreon, who also recommended the first one. We will be spoiling it and talking about each short and breaking everything down. So if you haven't seen it, go check it out. Otherwise, we're moving on to The Rapper, which I believe is called Tape 49. This one's just two private investigators that are snooping around. They're looking for a college kid in a house and stumble upon a very familiar setup of CRT TVs. The kid living here was a tape collector, and if we know anything from the first movie, there's weird stuff on all these tapes. Each of these shorts is basically a different tape.
They started it off right away with someone lurking behind the scenes. You saw them just like standing in the doorway and moving around, and it had an eerie tone to it.
And now let's talk about tape number 1, Phase 1 Clinical Trials.
So a guy lost his eyeball in a car accident, and they transplanted a camera eye into his head. It was this like new technology that they wanted to try out. As you would expect, things go wrong. So he gets home, it's like the first night, and paranormal stuff starts happening. He's seeing dead people.
Yep.
He freaks out, and you're like, okay, yeah, you have a fake eye, and so of course you're gonna see some like random, not pleasant things. But
I don't think that's implied. I think if I were to get some cybernetics, I wouldn't just assume that I'd see dead people. I'd just feel like RoboCop walking around.
There's a twist, because this isn't just the first time this has happened, apparently. As another girl visits him at his house, her name is Clarissa, she had a hearing aid put into her ears, and she can hear dead people. So the film just basically is the two of them getting terrorized at night.
This one's kind of creepy because if you have that thing in your head, like you can't stop that unless you decide to try and take it out of your head, which he does. But like, what are you gonna do?
So there is the only way to stop this is by having sex.
But isn't that weird? She was just like, oh yeah, is there a guy over there? Yeah, that's my uncle, my creepy uncle. What? If she can only hear him, she has no idea. But that was kind of creepy and good. There was some decent jump scares. They didn't necessarily catch me off guard because I think they waited too long. Like the build-up in some of the tense situations just like didn't quite hit.
Yeah, like the person under the sheets, or like when
Right.
you turn the corner and someone's standing there. It was pretty predictable.
But it was okay. Adam Wingard was like the main guy. He did a pretty good job. I did like the perspective because you kind of wanted something a little bit different, similar to the guy with the glasses in the first movie in Amateur Night. You don't always need just a guy holding a camera like most of these will be.
And we did get a really cool underwater scene out of this one.
Yeah.
When the ghosts were like pulling them into his sweet pool. Can we talk about how great his pad was?
Yeah, the house was awesome. The luxurious bathtub, so luxurious he spent the night in it instead of running past the ghost. He's like, I'm just gonna post up here. And I really liked the girl. I think she was cool, and the way that she moved in the pool was really dope. It's a very small pool.
Well, see, at first I thought it was a hot tub, but then
Yeah.
it seemed larger than that.
Overall, this one was okay. I don't think it was anything too stellar, but it was unique. We haven't seen one like this. Next, we've got A Ride in a Park. This one was actually another interesting one, probably the silliest of the lot, because it gets a little funny closer to the end. But it's just a guy with like GoPros filming like a bike ride down a trail. He sees a woman. She's like, you need to go save Dan, my boyfriend. And she just starts puking up black stuff or blood or something. So whatever it is, he needed to get off his bike and run away.
Or get on his bike and pedal away, probably faster.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, if you have a bike, you may as well just get on the bike and go. He kind of just sees more people wandering towards them. It's zombies. He like turns around, the girl turns into a zombie, jumps on him, and he becomes a zombie himself, but not right away. And that's what's cool about this, is because you see him go through the motions of being attacked, freaking out, walking along, falling down, and just like chilling there and waiting and waiting. He pukes a little, of course, and two other bikers on the same trail come up to him and they're like, oh man, this guy's been bit. And then he bites them. And then here we go. Now we've got a bunch of these bikers zombieing around, and they go to a kid's birthday party. and terrorize them.
Yeah, with this one, it was fun for the idea that it was a perspective from a zombie. I think that's what's cool about it. I just didn't like the ending. When they threw emotions into it, it was weird. When he hears his girlfriend call him and she's like, oh, you butt dialed me, I love you. So like all of a sudden he goes from zombie to human.
Maybe they're all like this. We just only see them when they're not emotional. I do like that whole idea. Like, even when he first becomes a zombie, he takes a bite out of his arm, and he just like, obviously didn't like his own skin. He's like, I need other people's skin.
I think my favorite part of this entire short was when he was gobbling up the biker guy, and the girlfriend of the biker guy came over and they're both gobbling, and then they just stop and he just kind of like raises up from the dead and has this like deadpan look. I was
like, what the hell are you guys doing?
Yeah.
So we know that he didn't like the zombie flesh. Now, was it because it was his own, or just because it was zombie flesh and not human flesh anymore? Like, was that guy still delicious when he rose up, or did it taint the flesh?
I think it tainted it because they didn't continue eating him.
Well, if I'm alive and I woke up and I saw you eating me, I'd hope you'd stop eating me. Like, were they just frightened and like, I was like shocked? It's like, sorry, we thought you were a dead man. Okay, we'll stop. We'll go find some new stuff. I don't think it was necessarily because his intestines started tasting bad.
I don't know. The black tar takes its effect on things.
The actual showdown between a bunch of people was fun. There's lots of blood. There's lots of guts. There's a ton of different unique camera angles as this guy gets run over and stuff. There's a lot going on, and probably one of the more unique shorts that I've seen.
Which brings us to our third tape, Safe Haven. This one is about a documentary crew who's going to a place in Indonesia to document a cult. We meet the father of this cult who they are interviewing, and as they're interviewing him, things get a little freaky as Lena starts to feel a little queasy and she has to leave, and that's when we get like this whole big reveal of Lena and Adam slept together. Adam is the best friend of Malik, Lena's fiance, so there's like this whole love triangle of craziness going down. Lena's pregnant. This cult requires pregnant women to make their demon minotaur come out. When the killing starts happening, it moves pretty quick and it's intense.
The cult basically has like a suicide pact. I heard we're not allowed to say that word anymore. The cult has a specific pact in which you move from living to not living. Unalive, is that what the TikTok kids are saying? And so at this point, we don't know that there's like any demon stuff going on.
Yeah, we get a weird reveal from Adam when he like lifts the covers of a pregnant woman. Her belly looks like a Venus flytrap.
Well, we know why, because something massive came out of it.
Yeah, but we don't know what, because the actual massive thing came out of Lena. We saw that, but I was more curious on who our crazy spider lady was.
Everybody comes back from the dead, so they're like zombies as well, or demons, we don't really know, but they look and act like zombies, so we'll go with that. And they're just walking all over the place, trying to kill like our main people. There's just too much going on.
We'll backtrack a bit here. The death of poor Johnny. That looked great. That was father going at him with an X-Acto knife and like slowly cutting his neck.
I have to censor a lot of this, but it is very gory and awesome. But yeah, when all is said and done, Adam's the only one alive, and now he's running from this Minotaur thing, who you can hear in the background. You only see him a couple times. He gets in his car and he's driving, but you can still hear that thing. And all of a sudden it smashes the side of him. The car tumbles over. He gets on top and he just says, "Papa?" And it is the funniest fucking thing. Not only does it look kinda cheesy, I thought it was okay, like the design was fine, but it was too bright that you could see imperfections in like the mask and stuff. Him just saying, "Papa?" killed me. This was a good one, but like, it was way too long in comparison. Inconsistency in length kind of disrupts the flow. I know you're not supposed to have certain expectations because filmmaking is whatever, but when it comes to anthologies, I feel like there should be that expectation where everything should be roughly around the same length. But this was probably double what some of the other ones were. It was like a good 30 to 40 minutes, I think. And last up, we've got Slumber Party Alien Abduction. This is just about a slumber party. Some kids are pulling pranks on their sisters, boyfriend and friends. An amazing prank, by the way. They were pretty good. So like they start off with doing some like water gun fight, like just basic stuff, but eventually they go upstairs and they put on like a T-Rex head, they get some flashing lights, a speaker, and they just run in and have a little rave. I would have been so pissed. It was very good.
And then the sister gets, I guess, the brother back. That's the one thing that was a little confusing. It was hard to really see people because it was through doggy cam.
Big fan of doggy cam,
Yeah.
though. They just like strapped a GoPro to a dog, and while sometimes it probably was a dog, most of the time it's likely a puppet, but it was great.
Then the aliens come.
Yeah, then there's just big, loud, obnoxious noises that actually piss me off. But you actually see like your typical grays, the aliens just jumping around, leaping around, and they looked hilarious. And I don't think this was supposed to be like super scary or anything, but it was okay. Like they just came out of nowhere and they did like screw with these people. A kid almost drowns. And we did see one of the aliens early on when they were doing the thing.
Yeah, he was underwater.
He was just hanging out underwater doing something.
See, that was like one of the cool things. Like during like the drowning scene, they get on the dock and you see like the alien in the distance just like climbing up as well and like slowly making his way towards them. And you're like, come on, get going. Alien's almost there. And then the whole thing explodes and more aliens pop up.
It's a lot. Like the amount of people and aliens and everything just running around, and then you add in all the lights and just the audio. There's just so much going on. And I did feel like overwhelmed, which I think was the whole goal. Like you're supposed to feel like this is shaking the shit out of their house. Yep. They must have been scared. They have no idea what's going on. And then eventually one of the kids holding the dog gets sucked up into the spacecraft, the UFO, and drops the poor dog.
Yeah, that I think may be a little controversial final shot.
Like I didn't care that much, but we did grow attached to it. So there was an emotional impact, literally.
I think it would have been fine with the implication.
Yes, that's true. Maybe even just keep the camera on the head and see like blood on the ground. Then the animal still dies, but you don't look at its poor dead dying face.
So those are all our tapes, and this one actually did it the right way, going back to the rapper and having the conclusion of our PIs like getting attacked by the possessed house of some sort. I don't know if it was a possessed house or what it was, but our final shot was College Boy finally killing the PIs and giving a thumb up.
Pretty great effects in that. And I did like the rapper a little bit more than the first movie because it wasn't super shaky. Now it's time for our final thoughts and ratings. VHS 2 was a worthy sequel to the original. I thought some of these were really unique and fun, and they all had different approaches to using found footage to tell their stories. Some were a little sillier than others, and that's totally cool, but I didn't really like how long the cult one was. It was fun because there was like a lot going on, but because of that, I felt like it just dragged on as well, even though it's action-packed. The different perspectives from each of the shorts was great, and the overall production value felt higher. I liked all of the shorts, and I think the best one was the zombie one, just because it was so interesting to me. Like, I really just liked seeing the zombies' perspective. But as a package, I don't think this was quite as good as VHS 1. So I'm gonna give this 3 tall glasses of milk out of 5.
In this sequel, I felt like they made a lot of improvements with how they were telling the stories. I really like the rapper in this one because it felt more natural. However, with the 4 short films that we got, the stories were fine. I just didn't feel like they were well told. Like, I enjoyed them, the quality was there, and I liked how unique each one was. It just felt like each one was missing something. But with that being said, my favorite one would have to be the zombie one. The perspective was so cool and different, and it had that like nice balance of humor and zombie tropes. And as an anthology, it was well put together. I would recommend checking this one out. So with that being said, I'm gonna give this film 3 Blair Witch Dolls out of 5.
As always, thank you for watching. Like this video and comment below with your thoughts on the film if you've seen it. If you haven't and you do want to check it out, links are in the description. And if this is your first time here, make sure you subscribe to the channel, stay up to date with everything here on Bloodbath and Beyond.